What's up everybody, welcome to another camera comparison video. Today I have this Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and no, I don't want to compare S23 Ultra with Xiaomi 13 Pro. Today we are gonna compare S23 Ultra with this Huawei Mate 50 Pro. Well, in some rating system, Huawei Mate 50 Pro is rated as a #1 camera smartphone. But we have to check how good is the performance of Huawei Mate 50 Pro side by side with this Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Well, before we start this camera comparison video, one request. Please, if you end up liking this video, then please don't forget to click on the like button and please subscribe to this channel, support honest content. Also, one more thing. This video is brought to you by Pitaka. I have been using Pitaka smartphone protective cases. I have dropped my Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Well, one more thing, this video is brought to you by Pitaka. I have been using Pitaka protective cases on all of my Samsung S series smartphones and iPhones. So I trust in Pitaka and I believe Pitaka offers the best protection, at the same time offers a very good value for money. So if you are looking for a protective case for your Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, then you should check the protective cases offered by Pitaka. I have left the links in the description box below. What's up everybody, welcome to another camera comparison video. Today I have this Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and Huawei Mate 50 Pro. Yeah, in some rating system, smartphone camera performance rating system, Huawei Mate 50 Pro is the #1 rated camera smartphone, while Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra at this moment is the most hyped camera smartphone. Well, I have checked it through all the internet and almost nobody has compared this Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra with Huawei Mate 50 Pro, so I have decided to do that. What happened to Huawei Mate 50 Pro? Wow, exposure is a bit poor. Yeah, dynamic range and exposure isn't as good as Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Look at this. The differences are like day and night. Well, I'm not gonna talk anything about the selfie camera performance. You check by yourself which one has actually done better. I am actually walking beside a very busy street. On my right, that's a busy street. On my left, this is a lake. And yeah, really, I'm a bit disappointed by the selfie camera performance of this Huawei Mate 50 Pro. You check carefully and make a comment. Let me know which one actually has performed better. If you end up liking this video, then please don't forget to click on the like button and please subscribe to this channel. Support honest content. Well, I am different than others. I have noticed that many other reviewers don't put enough attention to human photos. But in reality, we all take a lot of photos of our friends and family. So yeah, let's check some human photos. S23 Ultra and Mate 50 Pro has fought neck and neck. Truly, other than a few preferential differences, both have done well under a very harsh lighting condition. Mate 50 Ultra human photos got a lot of detail on the subject, sharper textures and better exposure management puts it ahead of Galaxy S23 Ultra. But Galaxy S23 Ultra with better color rendition, better, almost true-to-life skin tone and perfect white balance has also reproduced amazing human photos. Huawei has slightly increased saturation and sometimes there is a hint of color tint, especially in some harsh lighting conditions. Mate 50 Pro has also failed to manage the correct ratio between brightness and contrast in some occasions. As this Galaxy S23 Ultra has just got released, I am sure Samsung will definitely improvise the performance through future updates. But for now, I would go with Huawei Mate 50 Pro as it grabs slight more details on the subject. Huawei Mate 50 Pro uses its main sensor to take portrait photos. There is an option to select between 2x or 3x zoom portrait photos. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra comes with a dedicated 10 megapixel sensor for 3x zoom portrait photos. Like its predecessors, S23 Ultra has delivered one of the best portrait photos. Galaxy S23 Ultra has grabbed more details on the subject, better skin tone, almost natural color rendition, better edge detection and edge cutouts. Altogether, S23 Ultra's portrait photos are way better than Huawei Mate 50 Pro. I'm not sure why some of the reviewers are praising this Mate 50 Pro. I have tried a lot to grab a nice portrait shot with the Mate 50 Pro, but it has really disappointed me. The main aspects of portrait photos are well processed by Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. It has better bokeh effect, more details on the subject, and excellent subject isolation. Kudos to Samsung. It's the same old story. Samsung S23 Ultra offers the best selfie performance among all the Android smartphones. That's my personal opinion, but I think you'd agree without any hesitation that here in this comparison, Galaxy S23 Ultra has done way better than Huawei Mate 50 Pro. We had to take the selfie and selfie portraits twice because the first time when Eva has taken the selfies, Huawei has failed to compete. Anyway, I don't think I have to point out the differences, as it's clearly visible. Even at a glance, you can see the differences. S23 Ultra has more details and natural skin tone along with better shadow details. I will leave this to you, but if you are confused whether beauty mode was enabled or not, then no, all type of beauty mode was disabled on both the devices. Well, let's check some indoor 4K 60 frames per second videos. I like the video clips recorded by both of these two smartphones. Both have reproduced nice and vibrant video clips with a lot of detail and crisp textures. But there are some differences. Details and textures are pretty similar on both the Samsung and the Huawei, both doing a good job, but I think the Galaxy S23 Ultra has done slightly better. I need to mention that S23 Ultra has awesome combination of dynamic range and exposure in 4K 60 frames per second video clips. There is amazing motion autofocus, and if you are doing a lot of action shots, then definitely Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is a better choice. I'm really a bit confused about the performance of Mate 50 Pro. Sometimes it has totally failed to maintain exposure and brightness. Mate 50 Pro has also failed to neutralize white balance. Altogether, my winner is Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, but Mate 50 Pro has also done very well.
I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change, I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a f***ing name, I just wanna be famous.
Huawei Mate 50 Pro got a Sony IMX766 50MP main sensor, and Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra got a Samsung ISOCELL HP2 200MP main sensor. These days, pretty much all the flagships can take great pictures in daylight. All of these shots that you are seeing are taken in auto mode with auto HDR on. Dynamic range and color rendition is truly great on both the devices. However, based on your filter and AI settings, both can reproduce either natural or vibrant photos. In general, both have managed to neutralize white balance. However, Huawei seems to have a eye-pleasing color rendition. In terms of detail level, shadows, textures, and sharpness, most of the time, you will find it very difficult to rule one better than the other, cause you will need to do heavy nitpicking and consider preferential differences. But the truth is, whatever you say, whatever you prefer, it is very hard to ignore that S23 Ultra has a lot more definition and a lot more shadow details. So, for daytime photos, S23 Ultra is definitely a better choice here. It's a bit difficult to match and compare cause none of these two smartphones have the same optical zoom range. Huawei Mate 50 Pro got a 3.5 times periscope lens. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra comes with a 3 times zoom telephoto and a 10 times zoom periscope lens. At 3 times, S23 Ultra has optical zoom. Mate 50 Pro uses digital zoom. At 3.5 times, Mate 50 Pro has optical zoom. S23 Ultra uses hybrid zoom. And at 10 times, one more time, S23 Ultra has optical zoom. Mate 50 Pro uses hybrid zoom. So it's totally a mismatch. The thing is, from 3 to 30, in any zoom range, Samsung has done better. Huawei has fought well only in 3.5 times zoom range. Other than that, S23 Ultra has done better in all the segments. S23 Ultra with more details and better definition, better texture processing, balanced sharpness has reproduced way better zoom photos. Time for ultra-wide photos. Galaxy S23 Ultra comes with a weaker Sony IMX564 12.2 megapixel sensor, while Huawei Mate 50 Pro comes with a better IMX688 sensor for ultra-wide photos. I am surprised to see that S23 Ultra actually produces better pictures with better color rendition and better exposure. Anyway, there is another thing that has surprised me. If we check details, after checking detail level, textures, shadows, and dynamic range, wow! Even if it's almost the same on both the devices, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra's ultra-wide photos are actually a bit better than Huawei Mate 50 Pro. I'm really willing to know how better it will be after a few updates. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra has a weaker sensor for ultra-wide photos. Huawei Mate 50 Pro has a much better Sony IMX688 sensor, but in reality Samsung has done way better. Samsung has squeezed the most out of its hardware. It has better exposure, wider dynamic range, better color grading, and better shadow. Galaxy S23 Ultra also has more detail, photos are more refined, there is no lens flare and noise issues. In terms of details and shadows, both have done well. In some photos, Huawei has grabbed more, and in some photos, Samsung has grabbed more details. But Huawei Mate 50 Pro, with poor white balance and exposure management, has failed to deliver flagship class low-light ultra-wide photos. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra nighttime zoom photos are not as good as its daytime zoom photos, but at 3.5 times zoom, it is clearly ahead of Huawei Mate 50 Pro. I'm not going to compare 3 times and 10 times zoom photos, cause in those segments, Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra is way better and almost humiliates Huawei Mate 50 Pro. I really don't know why all the brands cannot offer 2 different optical zoom lenses, one for 2.5 or 3 times zoom photos and another for 7.5 or 10 times zoom photos. Please make a comment and let me know which zoom range do you think is the sweet spot and mostly used by the users. Time for low light photos. Time to check DENS. If you are subscribed to this channel, then you may know about this. In low light photos, we check detail level, exposure, noise, and shadow. Please remember that Huawei Mate 50 Pro was released half a year ago and camera algorithm is almost truly optimized for its hardware. On the other hand, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra has just got released and there are room for improvement through software updates. As these are super flagships, I have tried to take the photos in very harsh and awful lighting conditions. After doing some heavy pixel peeping, it's clear that the differences are almost negligible and preferential. Both have grabbed similar amount of detail, but Samsung has processed the textures with clarity and it has a bit better contrast and sharpness. Huawei has saturated the colors and softened the textures to minimize noise and grains. On a smartphone display, it will be very difficult to find any quality-based differences. Only if we check on a bigger screen and do some pixel peeping, the differences gets visible. In some crazy and harsh lighting conditions, Samsung has managed to get very good exposure and I really like that S23 Ultra has managed to reproduce almost natural colors. Considering all the aspects, I am convinced that this Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra has done better than the number 1 camera phone. Yeah, in some rating, Huawei Mate 50 Pro is the number 1 camera smartphone.
Create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains. I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a f***ing name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain. I just wanna be greatness. 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 Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste it, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent. And it's only a percent, I'm gonna take shots.
This is the toughest segment of this comparison. Usually flagship class Samsung Galaxy S series smartphones with optimized algorithm performs better than any other flagship smartphones. Last year, Galaxy S22 Ultra has done almost as good as Vivo X90 Pro Plus. So I cannot deny that I have a very high expectations from this S23 Ultra. But I'm a bit surprised to see that Huawei Mate 50 Pro has become a monster after all the updates that it has received through past few months. In general, these two smartphones stood toe to toe, fought neck and neck. But surprisingly, in some tricky and harsh lighting conditions, Huawei Mate 50 Pro has done even better. Samsung has reproduced indoor photos with almost natural color temperature. Huawei has kept the tone warm. Both the S23 Ultra and Mate 50 Pro have managed to render almost true-to-life colors, but sometimes in different lighting environments, both have saturated the colors. Dynamic range, exposure and contrast is usually a bit better in Huawei photos. However, performance of Mate 50 Pro is less consistent than Galaxy S23 Ultra. Yeah, there are some preferential differences, but I really don't like highlights and contrast issues. It's very difficult to fix this type of issues. After checking all these photos for a few times, yeah, details, textures and sharpness is almost similar. I think based on your personal preferences, you can go with any of these two and you won't regret because both offers a very good performance. Okay, after watching through this video, what do you think? Which one has won the battle? I think Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra has done way better than Huawei Mate 50 Pro. But yeah, in some segments, Huawei Mate 50 Pro has also done well, but Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra has just got released. So after a few months, this one will become much more optimized and definitely will perform better than many other flagships. But I am preparing another camera comparison video that's between the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and another unreleased smartphone. Stay tuned. So if you're interested in camera comparison videos, then you know what you have to do. If you have liked this video, then please don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe to this channel. Oh yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I am using a Pitaka protective case on my Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra.